Oh, the boxing, the Beterbiev fight. This guy took punches early rounds. He was just like collecting punches. It was the bag that they were punching. Then he delivered his own knockout blow. Reminded me of that saying. First to start, the pain. Then he delivered his knockout. That was it.
Wow.
So that was one, and then the FIA is still fighting with the F1 over comments that Ben Sulayem said. And I'm just saying that, you know what, this fight is not ordinary eyes because people stole Lewis Hamilton's championship. If you give him this championship, people's quarrel will settle. But they won't understand. So that's on one side. So we don't know how the season is going to start with the F1 and the FIA fighting each other. But also this weekend we found out who our Super Bowl contenders are going to be. Yeah, Kansas
Yes.
Chiefs versus Eagles. Patrick Mahomes. Come on, girl. Come on. All right.
We're streaming the show live, by the way, so you can catch Tega doing the dance. It's just set for us on YouTube at Smooth981.
Yeah. So those are the other stories that happened, you know, around the world of sports. The rest of it we'll be talking about after Zibi gives you the other media by which you can join our conversation. So on WhatsApp it's
The number 0809 4440981. You can tweet at Smooth981. And maybe if you're really nice, Tega might open the phone line.
yeah.
0144899881.
Right.
All right, champion Arina Sabalenka turns 2022 nightmare into a 2023 dream. Sounds like a poetry song.
Yeah.
Djokovic unsure on injury return after Australian Open perfect 10. Late goal from Simeone gives Napoli 2-1 win over Roma. Liverpool out of the FA Cup. Ramiro rocks boat as Madrid drop points in title race. Arsenal match will be different next time. Okay, Ateta. 10-man PSG held as dogged Reims strike late. And Rwanda arrests 6 for insulting trailblazing female football referee.
Well, so that story, maybe because we may not get there, but that story is a little tricky. So in Rwanda, apparently, you can't hurl insults openly. You pay up to like $500, from $500 to $3,000. I was
As
like,
a fine.
yes, I was like, they should come to Lagos. They should just try it in this Lagos.
Wait,
They will
what?
make money.
You
Yeah.
cannot.
You cannot hurl insults openly. It's a law in Rwanda. It's
Wow.
a part of their penal code. Yes, you pay $500 to about $3,000 for public insults.
Wait, but what about people's rights to expression?
It's your rights stops where my abuse starts.
I mean, I can imagine how much you would have to pay, especially when you're driving in Lagos.
My darling, I pay like $5,000 before I get to VI.
But it's good though. It means that people in Rwanda will be orderly.
So have you? If
No, I've never been to Rwanda.
It's very peaceful, very calm, and even when they're mad, they're still measured. I think it's the fine. They're just thinking if I express myself now, $500 I don't even have. But they're measured. It's a very cool. Truth be told, I would have loved to live in Rwanda, but I like a hustle.
Yeah.
It's a bit too
You
slow
see?
for my liking. So when I want to sleep and then enjoy Coastal Power Supply,
Right.
go to Rwanda.
Okay.
Yeah, but when you want to really hustle, because there's nothing, you're so comfortable, it's so calm, it's so peaceful.
Wow.
Yeah, so you don't hurl insults publicly, number one. Then number two, they arrested them for hurling insults publicly and for discrimination against a women referee.
Okay, I
it
like
was
that.
3 women and 3 men, just so you know that. And for discrimination is 5 to 7 years
In prison.
And this is Rwanda.
This is why I'm going to live in Nigeria for a
When I
long
went
time.
to Rwanda, I heard one of their ministers was serving time in prison for, I can't remember, was he drunk driving, a repeat offender,
Yeah, okay, that's good.
or he had done something to some lady. I can't remember which one,
Wow.
but he was in prison. I was like, Nigerian minister in prison. Efia.
Wow.
That never
We had a
happened.
senator slap someone, slap
Yeah.
a woman. And
That will not
then-
happen in Rwanda and he'll go scot-free. With that video, he's in jail.
Wow. Interesting. I might plan a trip to Rwanda at this point. All right. So let's go on to Australia. Now, it wasn't a happy hunting ground for Arina Sabalenka 12 months ago, but 2023 marks a great start. She's now the Grand Slam champion.
Yes. So on Saturday, yeah, was it Saturday? Saturday, yeah, on Saturday. So remember, I was really pumped up for this Australian Open. Rybakina against Sabalenka. Very, I mean, two players that had a great tournament coming to the final together and playing one of their greatest tennis matches ever, especially in Australia for Rybakina. And then first set starts, and it goes according to how I planned it, because I plan these things. Sabalenka making a few unforced errors here, Rybakina being so confident and clinical, playing her own game. She took the first set 6-4. I was like, okay, good girl, good girl. And then second set came, and all her first serves just disappeared. And I think it was, I don't think it was just, yes, there was pressure, she was nervy. I think that had some of it, but it was also the way that Sabalenka decided to become aggressive. Like he that is down needs fear no fall. So she stepped up to the line and was trying to return everything. And the more she returned, the wider or the deeper Rybakina felt she had to hit, and which was why she was making so many unforced errors, hitting outside the lines or hitting the ball a little too long. So she struggled a lot. And also you have to think about the fact that she'd lost to Sabalenka 4 times in a row before. So that also plays into it. So when you make the first mistake, all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's happening again. So there was all that second guessing. And you could see her coach just pointing to her head that, look, this thing is in your mind. You need to get your mind out of it. So you could see the mental pressure that she was under. And I was thinking, you know what, you won Wimbledon just last year, and it's so sad that you won Wimbledon last year and they didn't give you any ranking points for it. But you've played in the final of a Grand Slam before. You beat the world #1 in this Australian Open champion. And I'm talking of Iga Swiatek in one of her best moments. You beat her, and yeah, afraid like this, but all those kind of tensions tend to happen. Sabalenka had her moments where she was serving for the match and she struggled, but eventually she overcame and she won. So congratulations to Arina Sabalenka. Her pictures were really nice yesterday. Really didn't want her to win. I really didn't, because during one press conference, she was like, I think at the end of the day, whether they put a neutral flag there, everybody knows I'm a Belarusian player. I was like, your people they don't do anything proud. You should be humble. Your people allowed people to kill other people, so keep quiet. No, you can't be proud about that kind of thing. She's like, at the end of the day, I think everybody knows I'm Belarusian. So, and that's the
she didn't lie though.
She didn't lie, but that's the offense the Ukrainians find competing against these people. Because even if you say they are competing under neutral flags, someone like Sabalenka also come out and say, you know where I'm from, and the pride still goes back to that country, who allowed people to enter another country and invade a sovereign land.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I know it's human rights, so I must get on it. But yeah, congratulations to her. She has really tried. I mean, she's put in the work, and this is the results that she deserves. She's earned the right to win a Grand Slam title. She earned it a long time ago, if you ask me, to be honest. I think she was qualified, the way she played, to win world #2, not doing very well in Grand Slams. So this was a great opportunity. It's just the other side of the flip side of the things off court that can get to you. But for Rybakina, well, I'm so glad she finally got some points for getting to a final. So she's now in top 10.
Oh,
so
good.
She's top 10 on the Dutch. Could have been higher with some Wimbledon ranking. But then again, so she's in top 10. Great tournament for her. Really sad loss. 5 times in a row losing to Sabalenka. The problem with that is that whenever you square up against somebody after losing so many times, it becomes harder to beat the person.
That is true.
Yeah.
Poor girl. All right. So, new Australian Open champion Novak Djokovic says on Monday he hopes to return to action in a month's time, but he's not sure how quickly his injured hamstring will heal.
Yeah, injured hamstring.
Injured.
Really. But according to the official story, and I'm going to give you the official story without my personal Djokovic bias, is that he pulled his hamstring just before the Australian Open, which is why he had that band-aid, and there were stories that he had to fly in a particular specialist doctor, don't ask me, to help through the process. But the hamstring didn't show up for most. In fact, I don't think a lot, apart from the few people that tested him running from left to right on court in the earlier stages, I don't think towards the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, he wasn't really moved like that. So you couldn't say, oh, this is bad. There was one time during the final, he looked like he was stomping his right leg. I was like, Sissipas, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. But he fell. But it was a I would say brilliant performance by Novak Djokovic. He read the game very well. He placed his serves in the right place. Doesn't have the biggest serves, but he has the most accurate placement of the ball. And so when he stands, he's most likely going to deliver. Um, and that's what he did on his service points. He made sure he was as clinical as possible. On Tsitsipas points, that's when they were battling. And Tsitsipas, for me, I think a little bit of pressure got to him, because throughout the tournament you could see the impact of Mark Philippoussis on his team, showing in his serves, because his serves were really good. They were mostly consistent. They were big. They were hitting the right spots. Final, you again, questionable. And it comes down to the mindset of how you approach a tournament. And I would say this, Sipas, I think he's 23. I've seen great players at 23. Whether you're talking, I'm okay. I'm not even going to talk about the Roger Federer or Rafa Nadal. Those ones may be extreme. Or Pete Sampras, that may be extreme. Or Andre Agassi, these people have played tennis. That may be extreme. I'm talking about the Marat Safins, Leighton Hewitt. By 23, they're already, showing up in the Grand Slams. So what are you doing at 23, applauding yourself for just getting to the final? That's not. I think people need to be honest with the next gen.
Cheka, you would be a very hard
yeah, I will, because the next gen that's supposed to take over, the people that's supposed to challenge the Djokovic's and the Nadals, they're not really challenging. Do you know the people that are challenging the Djokovic's and the Nadal? It's the set after them, the Alcarazes, the Holger Runes, this 19-year-old and 20-year-old boys. For me, those are the guys I look forward to. I don't look forward to Zverev. I know that he's going to have a meltdown somewhere in between the match. I know that Medvedev is going to throw a tantrum and cuss at his coach halfway through the match. And yes, he has won a Grand Slam. I know that. Yes, he's beaten Novak Djokovic, but it's not a consistent thing. It's dependent on sometimes what's happening on the other side of the court. So these guys need to question themselves. What are we really doing? But it was a brilliant performance, brilliant tournament by Novak Djokovic. Well executed. Well, he was focused. He was in the zone. You can't take that from him. He is a serial champion. Just once he steps on the court, chances are, if you're placing a bet, chances are you place your bet on him. And he delivered in straight sets. He won the final, and he's won his 10th Australian Open and his 22nd Grand Slam. So he's now tied with Rafa Nadal on 22. So congratulations to Novak Djokovic. Amazing.
All right, so a superb first half goal from Victor Osimhen and a late decider from Giovanni Simeone gave Napoli a 2-1 home win against Roma. And
I think it was they are on point to win. So remember, AC Milan lost by 5-2 against Sassuolo. Then Juventus lost at home to Monza by 2-0.
Wow.
Then Lazio dropped points. They drew their own match. I was just like, you guys should just crown Napoli already. Give them the coronation they deserve.
33 years.
So all those points dropped were in the build up to this. It was only Inter that won. We're in the build up to Napoli taking on Roma, and the game started with Napoli in form usually. Roma with their questionable defense, but that goal by Osimhen, well orchestrated, well created. It came out of nothing. There was a random cross in the box. He had two defenders on him. He stopped it on his chest, controlled it on his knee, and then he whipped it into the roof of the net. I was like, where was this when we were playing Ghana? Moving on. But brilliant goal scored by Victor Osimhen in the game. But Roma was about to pull the Jose Mourinho job. They survived a consistent string of attacks, and then they scored their own goal. They were just about to run away with a result in a match that they did not deserve.
Wow.
And then Simeone said, no, we want all 3 points. We're gonna get all 3 points. You could tell from the celebration of even the guys on the bench when Simeone's goal went in, and they knew that they were going to get all 3 points. It was amazing. But yeah, they are well on track to get, apart from a massive, it has to be a massive drop down in form. In fact, it has to be a drop in form of exponential, exceptional and miraculous proportions for them not to win this title.
Wow.
But so far so good. They have this Scudetto. It's already on the car on the way to Napoli.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation in the locker room, and we'll read your messages as well from our WhatsApp and, of course, our live stream on YouTube.
Yeah, I don't mind me. Every time I see these Nigerians perform at their clubs, I'm just like, you guys didn't let us go to the World Cup.
Almost like they come to life.
So you can play. See your eye. So you can play football. I people play nonsense for us against Ghana. Rubbish. Yeah, I won't get over the World Cup very easily.
The truth is, most Nigerians don't love Nigeria. So those guys don't feel the need to push themselves. And then with the way the NFF or whatever is always being shady and weird, it's almost like they just do it, but they can't risk much because that's not where their livelihood is.
They should go over to their house. They should not play again. We have plenty of people in Nigeria that can play. They shouldn't play again. But if you don't pick them now, correct. If you not pick them, they'll not be doing big balls.
Entitlement.
Can you imagine people can play like this? Look at Demola Lookman. People can play ball like this and we didn't go to World Cup. What a nonsense bunch of people. Now Sabi play ball. Now we sit down for us and watch World Cup.
That's it.
So upsetting. Tell me. We'll be all right. Because ultimately, you're playing this. You're not playing for Nigeria per se. You're playing for yourself. Yeah, because
they're already those big clubs in Europe. They feel like you don't have anything to.
No. You have to keep yourself in those big clubs, and to keep yourself in those big clubs, you need your national team.
Oh, really?
Oh, it's important. National call-ups are huge.
Wow.
Except they know that you have a fight with your coach.
Okay.
Most in general, your national call-up also determines how great people look at you. It will add to your value. In fact, some places
I thought maybe it's the
some places will not even sign
you.
you. Some places will not sign you if you don't have like 70% representation in your national team.
Really?
Oh, it's big for them too.
Wow.
They're not doing us a favor, they're doing themselves a favor.
Make we all come out for election day and vote Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president of Nigeria. Vote to Senator Kashim
Like Djokovic. My darling, it's afternoon 12.
I know, right?
Okay, let's take this thing first.
Yes, this is the locker room on Smooth 98.1. Zibi, Tega, and you, of course. We're showing the show live on YouTube, so you can see some messages coming through. So just search for us on YouTube, Smooth 981.
Let's just take some of those messages.
All right. Okay, LK says, Tega, what's your take on UEFA trying to change the FFP rules because of Chelsea spending? My opinion is that any rule or policy made targeting one person is a bad law. I'm really enjoying the competition between Osimhen and Lookman, the Nigerian boys flying high in Italy.
All right, so I think we discussed that FFP rule on Friday.
Yes.
So let's take this message from Ian, who says, we should put that 500 USD fine in place in Lagos. Please, no. Lagos, no, please. He says maybe just once a week or so. Lagos IGR will just hit the roof in 1 month. I totally agree. Tayo says it's like we know why the Australian government prevented Novak Djokovic during COVID-19 episode. He's destined for greatness. Rashford stopped forming association by gesture. Actually, Rashford did it first. That's all I'm saying. So let's get this message.
Okay, Mohammed says, Tega, you show your bias against Russian and Belarusian athletes, but you forget that USA, UK, Ukraine, France invaded Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, Somalia, and Libya and killed millions. But you forget the atrocities of your colonial masters. Your colonial masters, okay? Because those countries are not human beings and don't deserve human rights. Okay.
You said, I know you won't read criticism. So let me tell you something now. This is not a bias. This is a statement of fact. What Russia and Belarus are doing is bad. So if you like, say John, because John stole, I should steal. When they arrest you and you go to jail, we'll know whether you are good or not.
Liverpool, okay,
no,
that's
no.
an older one.
No. Olufemi just says Osimhen. She's just hailing Osimhen. Olufemi Omotayo, we get your message. You're hailing Osimhen. All right, this next one.
Shay says Osimhen and Lookman topping Syria goal charts. Sorry, Tega.
I'm so mad. Everybody knows, right? I'm so mad. We didn't go to World Cup and you are topping charts. Chinancy says, Tega, it's a thing of concern that we still don't have consistent tennis players to dominate and take over from the era of Federer, Nadal, and Novak. That's two different eras you put in that sentence. Same as WTA, it will be difficult to have a player close to Serena. These Gen Zs are not consistent at all. All right, it's a function of Gen Z. So we're going to come to this Tayo's message.
All right, Liverpool fans are dreaming of witnessing history again. Now, okay, well, they were dreaming of witnessing history last year, but it's a very different story now, with Jurgen Klopp's side down to one chance of silverware this season and facing a rather uphill battle to make the top four.
Yeah, and so after their loss to Brighton yesterday, which I expected, and I hope they expected it too.
You expect
because they've been in horrible form. They've played 6 matches in 2023 so far. They won only one. I don't know what you're hoping to win. I expected them to lose against Brighton. I don't know who else expected them to win. But Andy Robertson said that they hoped that at the turn of the year in 2023 that they were going to have a better year. They were going to win, start winning. Maybe 2023 will change their fortunes. But it appears that they're playing even poorer than before. I was like, it's not the year, it's you guys. And that's where we're going to open the phone lines now to talk about Liverpool, because this Tayo's message leads us straight into it. Let's talk about Liverpool. How bad is Liverpool really, and what can they do to change it? So the numbers to call are
01-4489-981.
Yeah, so Liverpool is out of the FA Cup, they're out of Carabao Cup, they are struggling to stay in the top 10 of the Premier League right now. Let's leave top 4. It's still a little far. Just struggle to get good form. And so where is their hope this season? So you're answering to me, how bad do you think Liverpool is? And what you think they can change? Me thinks it's time for the coach to go, because sometimes change of coach has a psychological effect on players. It resets their mind. I think they need a change of coach, and I think they need a creative midfielder to connect that midfield to the attack. If they're scoring goals, they won't be under pressure so much. That's my own summation. What do you think? The numbers to call are
01-4489-981. Or
So the first message we're going to take now is from Tayo. He says,
Kaoru Mitoma applying what he studied in school on Joe Gomez should be considered a violation of human rights. How do you do that to your fellow human being? If Chelsea sign Enzo for that ridiculous amount, it should be for 20 years. These guys are the whipping club of this transfer period.
Yep, and this message comes in from
Agun Biade, real one.
He says, good morning. Oh, it's not Shopway Martins. We are with Zibi in the locker room and Tega. He says Osimhen and I cannot pronounce his name, which is why I just said this cross and the assist. Osimhen is the best striker in the world right now. What happened to AC Milan? Brighton unbeaten in 3 games against Liverpool. Mitoma the dribbler. Yes, all of that is happening. Josh says, did I just hear someone say that Tega doesn't read criticism? That's a lie. She does read your criticism, but if you give her gbas, just be ready to collect what also. That's not really true. Mohammed comes back again talking about Russia and Belarus. He says if it's good for Russia and Belarus athletes to be banned, it should also be good for American, French, and Ukraine athletes. Why do you believe in double standards? Okay, Mohammed, see that some races are better than others. I don't think that some races are better than others. Ukraine and Russia are the same race.
All right,
so
let's go on
to the phone
lines.
lines. Hello, good morning. What's your name and your location, please? This is who? Okay, Chris from Idiaraba. Go right ahead with your Liverpool submission. What do you think?
Well, I look at Liverpool, and it's not like they're not spending. They've been spending, at least for the past 3 years, they've been coping out the money and buying some of the most expensive players, unlike before. I don't really think they needed any additions to their squad. They have Jordan Henderson, Naby Keita, Thiago Alcantara. It's not really about the players. I do think the coach has to sit up and get his practice very right. He's been making a lot of mistakes in his practice. Havilius comes in today, the next day he puts in someone else. Henderson is no longer getting the game time he needed. I think it's all about the coach. It's either he has to sit up or he takes the sack. That's what I think about Liverpool.
Hey, Chris is with me. Sack, clap, clap out. All right, let's take another phone call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, what's your name and your location, please?
My name is Mohammed. I'm calling from Lagos.
Okay, Mohammed, go right ahead.
Yes. First and foremost, you said that you need a new midfielder. If they need a new midfielder, why do you need to change the coach?
Mm.
The thing about it is that there's a change of personnel, and they have a lot of injured personnel.
All right.
They can continue with Klopp. Klopp is a long-term project, so there are times it's like football is an up and down thing. Liverpool don't need another change of coach that will cause chaos. Before Klopp came, they were having series of coaches from Kenny Dalglish to this guy in Leicester to what do you call it? So many other coaches. So there's no need for them to change. And again, if you give your analogy of Russia and Belarus, then
yeah, sorry, Mohammed, we're not taking your Belarus, Russia analysis. We're talking about Liverpool now. We can talk about Belarus, Russia on Twitter. So you find me at Tiger Supreme. I have your time there for that. But let's talk Liverpool. And so we're talking, what do you think? How bad do you think Liverpool is? And what should we do about Liverpool? The numbers to call are
01448998.
Wait, do we have time for more calls?
Let's go to sports news. All right. So Real Sociedad's goalkeeper Alex Romero made a string of final saves to frustrate Real Madrid into a goalless draw Sunday.
Yes. So Barcelona won their match against Girona. It was a very tricky one. They got the much needed goal from an error by the goalkeeper. It's all right. They got their goal and they got all 3 points. How they won it, you can question, but you cannot question the fact that they had 3 points. So what that did was that they created a 6-point gap at the top of the table. Now Real Madrid, the gauntlet was thrown down to them, but they were playing a much tougher side in Real Sociedad. And they did try. They came to the party, they created chances, they were missing a few, but the goalkeeper was pulling out some Spider-Man. Who is better, Spider-Man or Batman? That's an argument for another day.
Always Team Batman.
Team Batman. All right. So they're putting out some Team Batman stunts to save his team. And so Real Sociedad was able to run away with 1 point from Real Madrid. And so what that has done, it has opened the gap at the top. It's now 5 points between Barcelona and Real Madrid. I wouldn't say, though, that the La Liga has been decided because Barcelona, they are the club that give it and take it away. So we wait towards the end of the season to see what can happen. I think the next story is
Arsenal match will be a different one next time, according to Arteta.
Yes. So well, first of all, the analogy was the story was Arsenal has not yet met Manchester City, and so Arsenal should not be too excited about being the elephant on the tree. They met in the FA Cup. Both sides did try a few players. And it turns out at the end of the day, Manchester City won that battle. They got the goal that they needed. Saka was really quiet and humbled in that match. I didn't see him really express himself like he usually would. And I think maybe that may have added to the Arsenal result. But what Mikel Arteta is saying is that, look, when they meet in the Premier League, it's not guaranteed that Manchester City will defeat them the same way, because he would have had time to review the match, and even Pep would also have time to review the match. He also said that there will be different individuals, like the match against Manchester City in the FA Cup. Odegaard didn't start, and I'm assuming that in the Premier League, Odegaard is a definite starter if he's fit. So those are the things he's claiming, that individuals will change, and so it will also change results. So it will be a completely different match. We want to see how that really pans out for him. But yes, as it is right now, on the basis of what we saw on Friday when Arsenal took on Manchester City, his advantage Pep Guardiola. Advantage master over students. All right, let's take some of these messages.
Okay, and WhatsApp number 0809440981. Cruz says, in my opinion, Liverpool is in ICU. They need to go back into surgery. WTA is the wild, wild west. Everyone has a chance.
Chinwe Nancy says, that Mitoma guy, I heard he studied football majors in dribbling at the higher institution. No wonder Trent Alexander-Arnold couldn't contain him. I think that was shocking, because Trent Alexander-Arnold couldn't contain him. Then they brought an older guy to try and contain him. I didn't understand it either. But yeah, Jurgen Klopp, you need to go.
Tega, why are you so gleeful of possible sackings? Tosan says, the game I was happy about over the weekend was Brighton beating Liverpool. Brighton should let Caicedo go to Arsenal. He will get better playing time than if he goes to Chelsea. I hope all the rush buying Chelsea is doing won't come back to haunt them.
Yeah, and Emeka says, Liverpool should be patient with Klopp. However, Klopp can leave now. The ovation is still loud. I don't want him to be sacked the way they did to Rafa Benitez. Lastly, I heard how Gomez is still crawling from that Mitoma dribble. Emeka, this is Monday morning. That's not the way to start the morning. And so we'll take our last message from NS. NS says, Tega will make a disciplined, tactical, and hard coach. No, I will not make a good coach. They'll give me red card every time. And then he says Liverpool's current situation is expected. They didn't do enough with their transfers in the past years to be ready for the future. And that's all we can take on the locker room. Thank you for sending your messages. Thank you for joining us. And remember to follow at LIS International on all social media platforms for our coverage of women's sports.
All right, do stay with us. There's a lot more to come on the Smooth Breakfast.